Let's discuss an annotated bibliography in the MLA format. Basically, an annotated bibliography is like a bibliography, a works cited page, except underneath the citation you have a paragraph that basically contains a summary and assessment of the source. Usually contains details about the article's credibility and the relevance to the research topic. This paragraph that contains a summary and assessment of the source is called an annotation. We'll be using MLA format in this class, although, if you take future classes that require an annotated bibliography, always ask the professor what format. You can have these in any format, like APA, on all of those others. But we'll be using MLA format in this class. So a lot of people ask, why go through the trouble of creating one? We're going to write the research paper. Why do we need to do the annotated bibliography? Well, firstly, it makes you read your research critically. It makes you go over your research with a fine-tooth comb and really examine what those authors are saying. It allows you to make connections across sources that you may not see if you're just briefly glancing through it looking for a quote for your paper. Maybe you can see that two authors really agree on an issue and they complement each other well. Maybe you find two authors who completely disagree and have some interesting contrasting arguments that you can pull into your paper. Basically, an annotated bibliography allows you to see what others have already said about the topic and how what you want to argue fits into the existing conversation. This is known as the Berkey and Parler metaphor. Also, an annotated bibliography can help you frame your argument in this greater conversation. So what is this Berkey and Parler metaphor? It's created by Kenneth Burke. It's his unending conversation metaphor. Basically, it goes something like this, where he wrote, "Imagine that you enter a parlor. You come late. When you arrive, others have long preceded you, and they are engaged in a heated discussion, a discussion too heated for them to pause and tell you exactly what it is about. In fact, the discussion had already begun long before any of them got there, so that no one present is qualified to retrace for you all the steps that had gone before. You listen for a while until you decide that you have caught the tenor of the argument. Then you put in your oar. Someone answers, you answer him. Another comes to your defense, another aligns himself against you, to either the embarrassment or gratification of your opponent, depending upon the quality of your ally's assistance. However, the discussion is interminable. The hour grows late, you must depart, and you do depart, with the discussion still vigorously in progress." So think about research and writing as this greater conversation. Annotated bibliography allows you to read multiple sources, allows you to see what's been said about a topic and where your argument fits into the existing conversation. It allows you to frame your argument within this larger conversation. When you're writing the annotation, basically you want to summarize, assess, and reflect. Ask yourself these questions. What is the author saying or arguing? What evidence does the author use? Is it convincing? Is it credible? How does this author's argument fit into what others are saying about the topic? How can you use this source in your own argument? How is it useful? You want to format this in MLA, list sources in alphabetical order, indent any lines that go after the first line, double space. Typically your annotations are a minimum of 100 words. Here's a few examples. Here's an example from an article talking about blogging and the First Amendment. You can see there we have the citation in an MLA format, and then you have your annotation underneath it. And this one's fairly short. Okay. Here's a longer annotation. This one is for research for a paper, making an argument about, in the new Star Wars The Force Awakens movie, who's Rey's parents, what are her origins. And so you can hear someone is looking at a video making an argument about her parentage and summarizing it, talking about the different evidence they use, and contrasting it against another source. This source claims that she must be Luke Skywalker's daughter. And then the person writing this annotation states that this video can be contrasted against the YouTube's Brothers argument video that explores the possibility of Rey being a reincarnation of Darth Vader. So here you have the summarize and assess, and then they're reflecting, they're comparing this source to another contrasting argument. That's a great thing to do in your annotated bibliography. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.